Hello everybody, welcome. It is that time again. I've been talking about it for a little while, and of course we're back around past Blackout to April, which means it is the official start of Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix 2018. Of course, we did our first Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix last year, and once again we're doing it again this year. And since we've had some growth over the last year, we did 6 and 6 in 2 blocks, and I've increased it this year to 8 and 8. And as a little bit of an aside to that, each block will feature 7 Hawkeye Pro guys and then 1 outside wild card in each block. So you'll get to see that, of course. So just doing this quick video here to at least showcase the competitors of Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix for this year until, before I actually start booking it. So we'll go ahead and start with Block A. We'll start with kind of the new people. There's a lot of new people this year, especially in comparison to last year. A lot of first-timers, and we start off with one of the first, which is Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, of course, came by right around this time last year, towards kind of in the middle of Grand Prix 2018. I know his first match was against Afa Noai Jr. When he was going to leave in the middle of Grand Prix 2017, and this year he's going to be a part of Block A. As you can see, this is his first year, and actually at Blackout he won, sorry about this, 6-man elimination tag, that's what it was. He teamed with Cody Hall and Bobby Fish, defeated Matt Hardy, Colby Carino, and Pete Dunne, and we'll see if he can carry that momentum over into the Grand Prix. And of course he is also an Opportunity Trophy winner. He had lost that, but I know he's going to be looking back to actually getting a heavyweight title match. He had a guaranteed one and lost it, and now he'll have another opportunity to have himself a guaranteed title match at Anniversary 3 with his inclusion in the Grand Prix. Second competitor on the list, Juice Robinson, a guy who's been around pretty much since the beginning of Hawkeye Pro. And for 2018, he gets a part of his first Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix. I believe I'm not quite sure what he was doing last year. He wasn't a part of it, obviously. I can't actually remember 100% of what he had done. He had his triple threat heavyweight title match at Blackout, and then he just sort of disappeared. But he'll be a part of this year's Grand Prix as part of Block A. Third competitor in Block A will be Raj Singh, a guy who's been around for a little while now. Not done a ton. He's had some tag team wins and a few singles wins. Nothing big right now. And I know he's going to be looking to change that here as being another member of the Grand Prix this year. Next guy up on the list for Block A, AKIRA TOZAWA. He's been around for a little bit now. He just had a grueling match with Kurt Angle at Blackout. Lost by submission, but still a very, very good match that he had there. And he's looking to transfer some of that success with Kurt Angle into the Grand Prix, and maybe he can find success and towards the heavyweight title this year. Moving on to the next guy, Toru Yano, a guy who is very experienced in this type of thing, honestly. A guy who's been around New Japan for quite a few years now and has seen his share of G1 Climax tournaments. So this should be a walk in the park for him. We'll see how well Toru Yano does, and I'm fully expecting a lot of underhanded matches. We'll see what ends up happening with him and Dragon Gate Midget Heavyweight. I should just name it to the open weight title. So Toru Yano, Of course, like I said, he's had a lot of G1 Climax experience, and I expect him to be able to do probably just the same sort of success that he's had there translate over here. And we finally move on to guys who were here last year, just a few people. The sixth man in Block A, Marty Skrull. He has not found the most amount of success. This is, of course, his second year, a GP record of 1-3-1. 1 win, 3 losses, and a tie. His best finish was in of course, last year when he got 4th place. And I'm sure he's looking to improve upon last year. Not quite sure how well I can't remember exactly who all he lost to, but yeah, it was a kind of a rough block for him, and I think he's looking to improve upon the 4 points that he had. Maybe actually have a GP with more than 1 win, and I expect Marty Skrull to be doing quite well. He's looking to turn it around, I would say. Speaking of people looking to turn things around, 7th man in Block A is TAMA TONGA. He has a lot of wealth of experience, actually, in the Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix. A lot of success. He has a record of 3 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws. His only loss came in the Block A final against Mark Sherman. And that was his best finish, of course, last year. And this is a guy who's found a decent amount of success in the Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix last year, and we'll see if he can actually improve upon that this year. But of course, the final man in Block A, the wild card. This is a guy that we're not 100% sure just what he's going to do for the Grand Prix and how this is going to change the dynamic of everybody in here. The final man in Block A, Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam recently announced that he was getting back into wrestling, and we have officially signed him into the Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix, and I have no idea what could be in store for Rob Van Dam. Of course, he is a multi-time world champion. He's been a long-time veteran for years and years, and we'll see what we can get out of Rob Van Dam here. And I have no idea what to expect of him, and it'll just be interesting to see. And those are your Block A competitors. Block B, we start off with once again guys who are experiencing their first year, and a very big start to Block B, and that is Ethan Carter III. He has been virtually undefeated, if I remember correctly, in Hawkeye Pro Wrestling. This is not a guy who has really lost a lot of matches. In fact, I'm honestly having to go through right now and see if he did or not. I'm not 100% sure he actually has lost. He has not. He's had wins over, let's see, Matt Hardy, AKIRA TOZAWA, Matt Hardy and Kushida, then Kushida, and Juice Robinson. So a lot of guys that, he's had Matt Hardy and Kushida's number. So we'll see what happens in Block B with Ethan Carter III. Unbeaten so far. And we'll see if he can keep that up in the Grand Prix this year. Also a newer guy as well, Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish is a guy who just recently signed only a few months back. And once again, another guy who's had his issues with Matt Hardy. And this is his first year entering the Grand Prix, and we'll see how well Bobby Fish can do. He actually just coming off of a win at Blackout in that same 6-man elimination tag that Kenny Omega was a part of. And we'll see if he can transfer that success over to the Grand Prix. And of course, speaking of Bobby Fish and EC3, they've had problems as well. The next man, Kushida, in Block B as well. This will be his first year as well. He came around, I believe, right around this time last year as well. Maybe it was around June or July, but he hasn't. He came around just after the Grand Prix had started, and this will be his first year in it. He has found a fair amount of success as well, and hasn't even had himself a heavyweight title shot so far. And I think this is a guy who definitely could earn himself he's definitely earned himself a title shot in the future, and now he'll get to absolutely showcase that when he takes on the Grand Prix. Of course, when you have guys like EC3 and Bobby Fish, you never know. It seems like an uphill battle to climb. Speaking of uphill battles, and once again with EC3 and Bobby Fish, the next guy on the list, Matt Hardy. Certainly a block with no love lost between any of these guys. This is probably a heavily heated block with guys competing with one another. And Matt Hardy, not in last year's Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix, because he was fighting for the heavyweight title at Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix final last year. So we'll see if he can get himself another heavyweight title shot. He hasn't had, I don't believe he's had another heavyweight title shot since, so we'll see if he can transfer that into the Grand Prix. Speaking of heavyweight title shots, Alex Reynolds, a mainstay in Hawkeye Pro pretty much since day one. Once again, he was not in the Grand Prix last year because he was busy being the heavyweight champion, so he had no need. And this will be the first year that he's actually a part of the Grand Prix, and we'll see if he can regain back the championship that he lost back in December. Back in back in September of last year at Anniversary to Mark Sherman. He was, of course, unsuccessful in his bid back in December to beat Mark Sherman for the heavyweight title in a ladder match, and I'm sure he would love to get back the success that he had a year ago, and he'll be able to do that with the Grand Prix. Speaking of success in the Grand Prix, the sixth man in Block B, Shane Hollister, part of a very odd Block B last year. He had 3 wins, 4 losses, and of course he had won the Fatal 4-Way match to get himself enough points to get into the Block B final last year, and beat Tangaloa to become the runner-up for the Grand Prix after losing to Mark Sherman. So I'm sure this is a guy who's known success inside the Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix. He was the runner-up last year, and I'm sure he's looking to improve upon that. And I'd say if there was anybody who had a good chance of winning, this is a guy to do it. The only guy I can think of who could possibly be better is number 7 on the list, and that is Mark Sherman. A very impressive Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix record. He racked up 6 wins and only 1 loss last year. He was, of course, last year's winner, and just recently losing the heavyweight title back in January. He was unsuccessful last night at Blackout to become the heavyweight champion in his Falls Count Anywhere match with the Big O. He has entered once again into the Grand Prix. And this is a man who knows what it means to win the Grand Prix. We'll see if Mark Sherman can make it 2 in a row and win the heavyweight title at Anniversary 3. And then, of course, the 8th man, the wild card on the list for Block B. Certainly an interesting pick, and that is Ultimo Dragon, a man who has been all around the world and has been a highly successful junior heavyweight all over the world for years and years, and he is going to be part of the Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix. I have no idea what to expect of this guy. He is certainly much older than most of the other competitors in this, but we'll see if time slows him down, or if he can find success in the Grand Prix. And that is the Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix contestants. And I will be getting ready to book that. I wanted to do this quick deal on stream, as well as actually record this and put it on YouTube. Just a quick little competitors list of the guys here. So I thank you guys for watching this. And of course, I'll probably be posting this maybe like not even a day before I post the next episode. So those of you on stream, clearly I'm going to start booking this. But yeah, those of you watching this on YouTube, I'm sure within the next day or so you'll be seeing the next episode of TEW 2016, where you will see the booking of Hawkeye Pro Grand Prix 2018.